weird. Not sure if anybody sees or hears this. Kind of a test. Hey, ironclad wrench. I've got a huge delay on this here. I don't know. This is just bizarre to me. This is absolutely bizarre. If you hear me, if you see me, I'm just kind of doing a test here. Yeah, there's something major wrong here, Jeff. I don't know. So if you don't see, oh, you do see pictures. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Well, hold on a second, Jeff. Hold on. Everybody's gone. Everybody went home. do you uh do you hear me reasonably well? I'll just stay with this until if anybody comes on, and then maybe try it again. But hey, Jeff, if you're still watching, okay, I'll try to show these pictures, and you let me know if it's coming through or not. It's just you and me, buddy. This is kind of nice to have an old friend, to live stream with. All right. Can you? Yeah. Do you see a picture of an anvil and a shop? Anybody see that? And can you see me okay? Okay, great, great, great. All right, maybe we'll continue on then. Hold on a second. Yeah, so, all right, I'll wait till a few people come back, but there's one issue with this, and I don't know if you can hear it, but you're hearing me, but I'm hearing myself in a long delay. So I'll try to keep that volume down to a minimum over here. And if you have trouble hearing me, just let me know. Yeah, so let's go back. All right, finally. I don't know why, like, every time I was trying to open a live stream, it would open two live streams. And, you know, nobody knows, what can you say? So, yeah, going back to now, and I start back again from the beginning here. If you've seen it, so here is my old shop in Vancouver. There's my old Nimba 260-pound Anvil. It was just a glorified shed. Looks a little bigger than it is, but you're looking at everything in that picture. Try to enlarge that a little bit, actually, so you can see a little bit better. All right, and so, hey, let's go continue on. So here's different view. You can see my hand. Whoop, hold on a second. Hold on. All right, I lost my picture. Hold on a second. All right. Wait. Just give me 1 sec. I don't know. I lost my picture. All right. Hold on a second. I'm getting it. You're seeing me and you're seeing pictures. So just hold on 1 second. There we go. Ta-da! Back on. Yeah, so there's a different view. I'm going to go through this very quickly, so don't worry. There's my orange. There's some bags of Coke. There's a whole bunch of orange Coke. Shouldn't say bags of Coke. I'll stop it. I don't know why when I stop it, it goes. Yeah, I can't stop it because it'll just keep it. It goes back to the beginning. So, let's see. All right, I'll let it run. Just let it run. Yeah, so there's two Nimba anvils. Jeff at Ironclad Ranch has one. There's the 450-pound Nimba. And there's my shop in you can see a shear in the background. There's me with a Hoffy hammer back in the day. And then here's me when I made my first kind of Japanese-style hammer. There's the old coal forge with the hand crank blower. A little close-up of the forge. A pair of tongs I was working on. I would like to stop this, but it's like, yeah, see, I knew it was going to happen. All right, it's okay. I can get back there quick. Yeah. There we go. There we go. We're sitting the wrong way. Yeah, there's a pair of tongs it's working on. Back in the day, I used to always weld my the tong jaws and the pivots onto rings. You can see there, if you look carefully, it's an electric weld that I refined in the forge. I used to always do that. I just felt it made a nice tong and was much more consistent in trying to forge weld them out. So, and I'm glad that Jeff from Ironclad Ranch is here, and I'll come to that in a sec. There's when I bought my first, disappeared. Okay. Let's see. All right, I'm going to try one more time to get to that picture. Hold on. Replay, back. All right, so okay, that's it. That was the end of that. So I'll get rid of that and show something else. All right, so basically, it's funny because Jeff at Ironclad Ranch, he actually purchased that 260-pound Nimba anvil from me, and then through these live streams and communicating through email, he actually sent me some pics of his shop and of the anvil, and then he also bought if you remember that yellow treadle hammer that I had, he purchased that, and so he showed me where they are right now. So I'll see if I can pull that up. I can't promise anything here, but I'm trying my best. So hold on 1 second. Yeah, 6 people watching better than 0. All right, hold on a second. Let me see. Shops, I showed that. All right, yeah, okay, got it. Just give me 1 sec. Reduce the size. Boy, it's a shame. I had this live stream really set up well, and it's a shame that it just got all bumped out there with this. All right. Enlarge this. All right, I'm back. Let me go over to the comments quick. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Matt. Stalvey. Yeah, glad you like the channel. Glad to have you around. All right, so, hey. Yeah, this is not my shop. This is actually Ironclad Ranch. This is Jeff down in Oregon. And if you can see in the pictures here, I'm sorry that these pictures are vertical, but you can see that anvil there. That's my old Nimba anvil. Let's play this. Yeah, I'm sorry. The weather's really changed, and I'm all choked up over here. I'm choked up by all these problems I'm having. Yeah, you live on Memorex. I'm live. All right, so here you can see in the background there, you see my old treadle hammer, which he purchased. So. And Jeff is a real nice guy and a real good blacksmith, and you can see his shop it makes me really, told him this, really envious because he has it set up in such a nice way. And you can see the old time, the pedal grind wheel there, just really, really nice. Yeah, I don't know if my voice is coming over in conjunction with how the pictures are because, like I said, I keep hearing a delay. So maybe YouTube's having issues. I know I'm always having issues. So here's another picture of Jeff's Ironclad Ranch. And you see the hammer there. And you see his it's got a triple burner gas forge. And there's okay. So let me stop it there. So he bought this rivet forge, and he had thought it was mine. And so I initially thought, hey, maybe that's possible. But I remember the guy who purchased it was, I think, from California, so I wasn't sure. But I think it's not the same one based on the one, the handle. And then this one, because it's also cracked, so that would lead Jeff to think that it was probably mine. But I think a lot of them cracked, and this one was welded, whereas mine wasn't. But I'll show that. Yeah, so if you look carefully there, you can see a weld, a bead running down and on to weld up that crack. And so that's what leads me to think it's not mine. That would be crazy if it was. Here's a picture of mine, and I looked at it and kind of twisted it in my head, twisted this around, and the crack is not in the same location, or at least it doesn't seem to be. You can see the handle is also different. And ta-da! Yeah, that's a picture of me. That's a picture of me looking real svelte. And got like that, got that Rico Suave mustache too. And so that's me when I was set up in Vancouver with the rivet forge and the Vulcan anvil. And the tong that I'm holding, because that'll come into play later, I purchased that tong in Taiwan. And so I'll show you where I got that from. So let me get rid of this now. All right. Yeah, so let me go back to the live stream. And, yeah, I see we've got a few more people back here. And so, yeah, I'm glad people are seeing pictures, and I'm glad people are enjoying it. Let me go to something, quick. Yeah, that's right, Rob. Rico Suave over here. No more Rico Suave over here. Yeah, I wanted to say that, I don't know why, but from the last live stream, I wrote down Chris Lewis and Shiva the Destroyer. And I think it's because you guys asked some questions, and I don't know, like what I tried to look to see what those questions were, and I couldn't find them, so I apologize. So if you had something that you asked, please ask it again. Yeah, I was young back then, no joke. Right. And also, Kron Maddox said he asked me if I did anything with my stump anvil and with the base, and I have something in mind, but not yet. Another thing too is I touched on that I want to talk about my old property and the creek, and I have really an interesting story to tell regarding that, and so I'm going to go into detail about that in maybe next live stream, or maybe two later, so we'll see. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so James Hengen asked me some questions via email, and I thought it'd be good to address that here before I go on to showing some more pictures. And so how much propane do I use? So, well, my tank is 16 kilos. Now, I think that measures the weight of the propane inside of the tank, because I've weighed the tank full, it's about 35 kilos, and empty, it seems to be just about half. So, so obviously the way that they measure is different, not in gallons. It's in kilos. And so on a 16-kilo tank, if I forged it, let's say 3 hours, I can maybe get 10 uses. And those 10 uses would be, I would say, let's say it's average between summer and winter, because you usually get more uses in the summer than in the winter. So I would say 10 days use from a 16-kilo tank, so that'd be 30 hours on a 16-kilo tank. I don't know if that helps, but okay. Another thing we touched on before was flue pipe height for cold forge and for creating draft. And so the thing is, I tried to look up what that exact measurement might be, but I remember it was between 12 and 15 feet. So, and so you have to think that the higher you go, the greater the difference in air pressure. So that would create draft, but it's not limitless. You just can't go into infinity and have a larger draft. It would actually become worse, probably. If you went too far beyond that, you might create where it was backdraft. Okay? So, someone else also said, like, well, what do I do in my downtime? And I would say that, like I had said before, I don't always watch blacksmithing stuff when I'm relaxing. I'd rather just chill out, watch what I like to watch and like that. And so, I watch, like, I don't drink much anymore, but I like to watch whiskey review channels. And specifically a lot I don't like, and I just find it interesting. And I always think, like, wow, you guys spend a lot of money on whiskey. And they always have the same kind of tasting notes, but I don't know why I find it kind of relaxing. So, and another thing, just a guilty pleasure, if I'm relaxing and I just want to chill out, I like to watch a channel called Red Letter Media, which they do like movie reviews, but like crappy movie reviews basically, and a lot of it is maybe too much, a little bit over the top, but I like when they do their best of the worst series. Like they'll pick out a few really bad B movies and then rate which one is the best out of those. So that's as an aside, I like to watch that. And another thing at night that I like to do is I like to listen to audiobooks. But I've got to like chill out on listening to like H.P. Lovecraft stuff. Man, I've been having these weird dreams, and I think it's connected to sometimes listening to some of those stories. And so they're creepy, and I guess what they call cosmic horror, and definitely I enjoy. I don't like horror movies. I don't like gore, but I enjoy like creepy tales. Let's put it that way. Yeah, you said Jameson. It's funny you say Jameson because if I was to drink whiskey and I don't have like a big budget, I like Jameson is a very good whiskey. Triple distilled. Yeah, so let's move on now to something else, and I'll show you some other pictures and talk some other blacksmithing stuff. Let me just check here. Yeah. Another question I want to get to is Casey Meters. Casey Meters was asking me about Anvil Height, and so what I would say is for Anvil Height, all of us know, like, okay, stand up, extend, and then extend your arm over the anvil, and then bring it back just a little bit, so it's not fully extended, and that would be a good starting point. But like for myself, I always like the anvil to be higher, where I was even more upright. And yeah, people say you generate maybe less force that way, but for me, I like to be more upright, as Casey does as well. And he's a real tall guy, whereas I'm not. I'm a short guy, but that's neither here nor there. You have to find what works best for your mechanics. And so, like I said, a good starting point is, stand to the anvil, extend your arm with your hammer in your hand, holding on the anvil face, and, where the anvil face would be, and, where your arm is not completely extended. So it's kind of like, what I would say, it's kind of like a bicycle seat, where when you pedal down, it should be the height of the seat should be where your leg is not, it's almost extended, but not completely. So there you go. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's all good. Told all that. Yeah. Let's go now to move on to some other pictures, and we'll see what I can show you there. So just give me a sec. Anybody asking any questions in the comments here? Let me just give a quick look. See. Yeah. Yeah. Time frame. Yeah. Messilora. Okay, Messilora. Yeah. Do I have a time frame for going back to the U.S.? I'm probably going to go back if I can in the springtime to take care of some business, personal, family-related stuff. And so at that time, I won't be permanent, but I might go back for a bit. So, I'll be streaming live from the U.S. at that time. Yeah. So, all right. Let's move on to some other stuff here. All right. Just give me one sec. Yes. Okay. Okay, I showed you that. Yeah, this is the segues into. Hold on. So, move this over. Open this again. Open that. Hey, a donation. It's unbelievable. Tommy West. Yeah, thanks very much for the $5. Very much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Yeah. And I see Roy has a question. Just hold on a second. Well, let me get you come back to the States, you plan on keeping forging in a sitting position. Hey, Max Stalvey, $5. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you, sir. Yes, I'm sorry to cut my answer off there in midstream, but stuff's rolling in. You know, it's a very good question, Roy, and I think that I'm going to continue to sit. But I think I might have two workstations, one where I can stand and one where I can sit. Certain operations are probably better performed standing, I would say. And another thing, too, is sitting. The reason I sit is mainly because of my workspace and how limited it is and how narrow it is, and I just thought that would be easier. And I've said that many times, you know. And someone said, like, oh, did I ever drum? And it's funny because I'm not a musician or a drummer, but my brother is a drummer, and so I was always around a kit. So I always thought, like, hey, that's cool. Like, if I'm working around, you know, I'm in the middle, and then my tools are around me. So, yeah. So, but I've gotten so used to sitting while forging, I really prefer it. And so I'm gonna have. If I go back to the States, I'm probably gonna do both, but mainly still sit. But again, it also depends on my shop and how I set that up. So, yeah, and another thing too I want to touch on about that is sitting is not a cure for back problems. Like a lot of guys will say, oh well, you know, I have a lot of problems, back problems and hip problems and whatnot, and so I'm going to try sitting. But you got to be very careful if you sit when you forge. You know, it's definitely something where, you know, you got hot steel flying around and you're in a seated position. If you don't move fast enough, it could be deadly. So you got to be very careful. And so, but will it cure your back problems? Yes and no. Because if your problems stem from standing in a certain position, standing improperly, yes, it might alleviate that, but then sitting might create other problems, whereas you have to then stand again. So what you might not see a lot is that I often, in between, when I've got stuff in the forge, I stand up a lot. I often will stand up, walk around, and mill about and like that. So I'm not just seated for 3 hours of forge time, you know, because that would be really bad for my back. And the problem that I've developed from sitting while forging and sitting while grinding and doing stuff like that is the ass muscle like clenches up on my right side. I guess it's called the piriformis muscle, and man, that it hurts like it feels like back pain, but it's not, and it's very hard to get that loose if that tightens down. So excessive sitting can lead to piriformis syndrome, and if you have that, you might as well just have back pain because it feels like almost the same thing. So, but to answer in short, yes, I will sit if I head back to the States, or when I head back and I'm forging in the States. All right. Let's see. Yeah, okay, Tim O'Connor. Yeah, if you've broken your back that many times, I don't know how a person, you know, can break their back 4 times, but if you have, you know, yeah, definitely sitting may never work for you. You know, if you've had fusions and stuff like that, if you have limited mobility and you have limited, if you're not very spry, like you can't get out of the way from a seated position, like you'd be surprised how quickly I can move when something is coming at me, like a hot piece of steel. So, yeah, maybe sitting, you know, you got to be comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable, physically not comfortable, then don't do it. And if you're not, you know, mentally comfortable where you feel like, hey, it could be too dangerous, you know, I'm right over the workpiece, then it's not good. And also, you would have to adjust a lot of your tooling. Like, for example, why do I like short tongs? Because sometimes I'm holding the tongue, you know, I'm in front of my leg here like that. I can't have a long handle. You know, it just won't work. I'll be poking my leg. So, you know, everything's up close and personal. And so you got to be comfortable with that on the levels. All right. Yeah, so let me get to these pictures here. And I sure hope that this is coming along okay. And I sure hope that there's not a giant delay in me talking and you seeing what I'm showing here. Otherwise, well, you know, what can you say? So, and I do appreciate you guys who donated. I really do appreciate it very, very much. Helps a lot. Yeah, so this here, this is the very, hey, thanks, boy, I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5. Very much appreciate. You know, I'm just gonna have to return this, don't you? You're gonna see a huge amount of new Taiwan dollars. I try to send in U.S., but because because I'm here and my connection is here, the internet, YouTube knows that, and so that they calculate it wherever in whatever currency is local for your for where your internet connection is. So yeah, hopefully that worked out. I hope you got that. So yeah. All right. Yeah, the picture you're seeing is on the blacksmithing street in Taipei here. There was an old blacksmith. He's 90 years old at that time. This is years back, and I would always pass there and always interested in this and that. And I actually, the pair of tongs you saw me holding when I was at my my old shed forge in Vancouver, that pair of tongs I bought from him. I don't think I ever really used that tong, but that style is so common here, where it has that kind of a very pronounced kind of a Z shape. So anyway, this old guy here, he would always be working on pneumatic bits, resharpening them, reworking them, and then heat treating them. And so, just kind of repetitious work, kind of mundane. A lot of smiths here who are still operating do that kind of work, because there's a need for that. Those bits are not cheap, and so if you can rework them, of course, that's an option. So, let me play this if I can, and we'll get to another picture in this. I'm just happy this is working reasonably well. Yeah, so you can see him there, right? And he was like, I remember, I think he was 90 years old at that time, and he was really crooked over, for being in that position. Probably exactly what you see that, working at his power hammer. And then there's one more picture of him. Yeah, that's kind of an expanded view there you can see of him. Where, you can see he's got a swage block. And then if you look very carefully next to the swage block, if you go to the right, there's a piece of metal that's standing vertical. That was his anvil. And I think it was a piece of maybe mild steel that was embedded in that stump or that block, and it had a welded-on face of hardened steel. And so, yeah, and he would, occasionally, like he'd work, bang, bang, bang on his power hammer, and then he'd come over, and he'd, true everything up by hand then on that little anvil. Hey, Tim O'Connor, thanks for the money. Yeah, I'll keep it up. I'll try. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for the $5. Everybody, really appreciate it. Like, you guys, it's not necessary to donate to watch, but, given my level of productions, if I would say average hour productions, I got to clean things up. Let's put it that way. If people are donating, I got to up my game. So, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, so anyway, this old guy, he eventually, I don't know if he died or he retired, but for a short period, his grandson took over, and he was operating in that little space. And when I say little, I mean the room I'm in is double the size of where his space. It was maybe like 5 feet by maybe 5 by 8, something like that. So, and that shop space, it's not a blacksmith. The grandson then left. I think he moved to another town, or he moved to another town, and maybe he still operates that business there. I'm not sure. But I think the old guy passed away. And so just had a good memory. Every time I would pass on that street to get steel, I'd always just watch him. And, that one time I pulled out my camera and took a few pics. So sharing that with you guys today. So enjoy. Yeah, let's move on to other things. So let me get rid of this here. Old Smith, goodbye. Yes. Yeah, so I'm going to go over to the chat here and just see if anyone else has any questions. And like I think I touched on this, I've done 3 live streams in one day here, so I don't know. I've been, because of all of the nonsense with me having 2 going at the same time. And basically, I have a really good story to tell about my old property in Castle Rock and the creek and the whole situation with that. And I was digging through my pictures to try. I have a few pictures that would really help me to tell that story really very well. It's probably the craziest thing I've ever done in my life, without a doubt. And so I was hoping to have, I know I have one very good picture that would illustrate that very well, and so I couldn't find it though. So I'll put that off for a live stream down the line. All right, so let me go over here to the chat, see if anybody's saying anything important. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I didn't know. Okay. Yeah, Roy, I didn't know that your old shop was so small. But now it looks like you're in, a pole barn building, and Oh, not a pole barn. Oh, maybe it's a pole barn, and it looks pretty spacious to me. You know, I gotta say, like when I watched I was watching Roy's live stream, and my wife was around still. She hadn't gone to work, and she looked at, she's like, oh man, this guy is real professional. I was like, yeah, thank you. You know? So it's a difference between someone who's doing it right and someone who flies by the seat of their pants, and that's me. Yeah. So all right, no one's saying anything special here. I'm just going back to see if anybody asked anything that they wanna. Okay, here, Thomas Barclay. Any advice for someone new to blacksmithing on pricing their work? Wow, that's a real tough question. It really depends what you're making. All right. I'll try to say a few words to this. I think that like when I started out and mainly making and selling tongues, I really charged a very low price because I always felt like my work wasn't worth that much. And maybe it wasn't back then, you know. I just felt like I didn't have a lot of experience. I'm not saying to not price your work accordingly, but the way I priced everything is I try to keep my prices as reasonable as possible. And my wife always gets on me saying, "You should raise your prices. You should raise your prices." But I feel like a decent tool. If I can make a few bucks and someone can get it at what they feel is a reasonable price, then I'm happy with that. But you have to understand that I also have to take into account the shipping, which is a lot more from here. And like I said before, is I normally subsidize that shipping a little bit to help out, to help not encourage business along. So if you want to price your stuff, of course it depends on the item. But I would say, boy, you got to find, just like everything in life, you need to find a happy medium. If you charge too little, people think it's nothing. I don't want it. It's just like, I was going to say a dollar store item, but, everyone's telling me now the dollar store item, the dollar store is like the 250 store or something now, which is not surprising at all. But, so if you charge too little, people might not want that item because they might think it's junk. But if you charge too much, then, of course you're going to miss a lot of sales for items that maybe you can make a few bucks on if you just lowered your price a little bit. So I know that this is such a vague answer and, not very concise and to the point, but you got to find a happy medium where you're making some money, it's worth your time, and like that. I always calculate like overhead, and so if it's an item like a tongue, I have a lot more flexibility because my overhead is the gas and the steel, which is, steel's price has gone a lot higher, but mild steel is still not that expensive, and it doesn't take that much gas to make a tongue because, an hour and a half to make one tongue, yeah, not too bad. So the overhead is low, so there's leeway on something like that. If it's something where I have to have someone else, like if I have the machine work on something, I have to consider that. Now, I'm assuming you're not, these are your own products, you're not relying on anyone else, but here's another thing. When you do something for business, don't kid yourself. You have to be very honest. How much is it costing you to make this item? Some people calculate their time, and I don't. So that's another thing you got to think about. If you calculate your time, if my time is worth X amount every hour, it could be very tough then when you're selling like blacksmithing items because you might have to get to that upper echelon of pricing where you might price a lot of people out who want to buy, this handmade item or that handmade item. All right, so anyway, yeah, hope that answered it a little bit. I'll think more about it. Maybe in an upcoming live stream I'll touch on that again. Yeah, all right, so, no one else has any questions. Let's get on to, I'll just show, let's see what we got here. All right, let's put this in. I'm still hearing this crazy delay, but oh well, what are you going to do? Uh-oh, going too fast. Come back. Come back, Shane. Come back. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. Okay. Messy Laura, Thomas Barkley. Work out what you think you'll work per hour. Yeah. See, that's the thing. It's the tricky thing to say. Well, work out what I'm worth per hour because it really depends on the item. And here's the thing too is let's say you charge $20 for this item. And you feel like, wow, I'm not getting enough because it takes me so long to make it. But as you get more experience, hey, that item now it only takes half an hour or 15 minutes, but you have a way to do multiple ones at one time, then that $20 maybe becomes a little bit more attractive. Yeah, the picture you're looking at here, if you're seeing it, and if my voice is matched up with the pictures, that we'll find out later. So when I check this live stream later, that's a section of real wrought iron that was hit by a car in Portland, Oregon. And a friend of mine, he got the job to repair that fence, to fix it. And I'll mention his name, Dean, real good friend, and real excellent blacksmith as well. And so I and another friend, Neil, went there and we cut out the section that was destroyed, and then hauled that off. And then Dean later on went back and installed it that he made to match the old style. And so as payment, we got a section of this real wrought iron. So it was triple refined real wrought iron, which it's very hard to come across. I mean, I think they sell an item called pure iron and nowadays, but it's definitely at a premium. And so this triple refined, real wrought iron, is such a joy to hammer on. It feels when you heat it, and if you're at, let's say, at yellow heat, boy, it feels so much different than even mild steel. It's so soft, and it seems to, you're able to bring up to higher temperature because it has so little to no carbon that you're able to bring it up to forge welding temperature and hold it there for a long time, and even a little bit beyond, without it, burning up completely, becoming a sparkler so quick. Like, the higher the level of carbon in steel, the lower the melting temperature. So if you're trying to weld carbon steel, that's where it becomes tricky. So if you have wrought iron, typically that's a lot easier to forge weld because, like I said, you can hold it at a higher temperature much longer. So at any rate, let's move on. And I'll show you like kind of what quality is this wrought iron. So you can see being the salesman that I am, I remember I cut up stuff that I wanted to use and keep, and then the rest I cut up and I sold. And I mean, I could not believe how much people were paying for this wrought iron. But guys who had specific projects who wanted to, have that kind of material, yeah, they were willing to pay a premium. I remember I listed it on eBay, and I was surprised, like, wow, just a few bars were going for like $70. This is way back when. Okay, maybe 70s. I'm talking a little bit high, but I do remember maybe once or twice it going that high until I sold it and had no more. So look very carefully, and if you see this, now you see it has a very consistent layer of rust all around the four sides, but look at how it doesn't penetrate in. It's one of the things about wrought iron, real wrought iron, or triple refined, stuff that's higher quality, is it will form rust, but rust is very slow to penetrate and destroy the interior of the material. And so that's one way you can tell. If a piece is 100 years old like this, at that time, it was about a 100-year-old gate, and it shows, that the level of deterioration or oxidation on the interior is minimal. It's a good chance that you've got something with a very low carbon content. It's being more pure iron, it oxidizes much slower than something that is an amalgamation, is a mix of different things like iron and carbon and all sorts of other elements. And then the final test would be this. Let's see. Ta-da! So you see, if you take this wrought iron and if you saw through it about halfway and then take it over the anvil and hammer it down, it has a grain structure very similar to wood. It won't fracture off quickly like a piece of tool steel would, but it'll actually bend, and it'll actually form a long grain structure that it should be pretty obvious in this picture here if you are seeing that picture. So and so once again, just a wonderful material. But one final thing I'll say about it is you have to understand, you have to work with the grain, kind of like wood. You have to consider the grain when you're working with the material, and it's the same when you work real wrought iron. All right. All right, let's go back to the chat and see if anybody has any questions. All right, we've been live for about 40 minutes, so it's pretty good. Like, I guess like things are okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I see. Okay, I see Roy's talking about shop rates and stuff like that. Hold on, I gotta go back and check some other things. Hold on. Hold the phone. First shop was 6 by 10. Okay. 40 by 50, 3-story. Yeah, that's something. You moving on up? Yeah. Yeah, starving artist. Right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I don't know if I'm stuck. My wife cooks so much, I'll never starve. You know. One thing I want to say is very, very quickly. I love my wife so much. My wife, boy, she can cook, man, and she doesn't. It's only, it's only her and I. She and I, my grammar is getting worse by the day. But she cooks like for an army, and I have to eat everything, and it's like, wow. I mean, I rarely eat out anymore, and that's good. That's a good thing, and I really, I appreciate it. But I wish, maybe she could slow down a little bit on the cooking. It's okay. It's okay to eat pizza every now and then. All right. Hey, Paul, how's it going? Yeah, glad you're back. Yeah, I'm glad like so many people came back, and I really apologize to those who were on this live stream and then for my 2 false starts and then had to get on to different things or they just gave up. I'll try to make it up to you somehow, some way. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, Roy, I charge $100 an hour shop rate. Hourly pay plus shop material design work. Most jobs I do fit into the structure. Yeah, so, I agree with Roy on the one point there in that you win some, you lose some is a very, very good thing that Roy says. Is that, I find like for my product, sometimes I'll sell X product to certain persons for this. I always seem to discount stuff, but I'll sell it for this price, and then it's a different price for someone else. It's not just I'm not charging randomly. It's just that maybe under some circumstances there might be occasion where I have to charge a different price. And sometimes, like especially with the shipping, I'll lose some on this, but I'll gain some on that. And so I kind of try to make it a happy medium again, like where you're not losing too much. You're not becoming a millionaire off of like a few things, but you're not going into poverty. So you have to kind of balance that out. I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. All right. All right, let's get back on to the picks. Let's get on to something else other than blacksmithing right now. So let me get rid of this. Gates. Goodbye. Remove. All right, let's see what else. Hold on a sec. I've got to look here quickly and see what else I've got. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to get on to rat stories, and then this might, this will take us to the end probably. There's plenty of stuff to talk about with rats. All right, let's see here. All right, let me just work this. Just give me one sec. Get myself organized here. All right. All right, so you see here, so at the beginning of my fall start live stream, I think I was talking about where, the other day, like I went to the gym and then a rat appeared and the woman was going bananas, like, and I was just laughing. Well, I wasn't laughing. The past few years, I haven't been laughing when I'm at home because we've had like rat invasions. I live on the 5th floor, and they've been like bugging out, climbing up. I mean, it's easy for a rat to climb in one of these buildings. There's so many wires and pipes and crapola hanging off of them from the top down to the bottom, so they can make their way up no problem. And so I feed the birds. I know that that's the first thing that probably attracts them. So I've been trying to keep that to a minimum where if I do feed the birds later in the afternoon, that it's stuff they can all finish out, and there's not like a bunch of leftover crapola out there. And also, when we had bigger planters out there, bigger, if you remember those big concrete planter boxes, I used to my wife and I would throw like a compost heap there, and that's not good, so, we've stopped doing that. So basically, going back some years, we had these rat problems. And the latest was about 2 weeks ago that I finally got rid of this one rat. And it does not bring me any joy to kill any creature, even a rat. I know that sounds crazy. I mean, if you're a mosquito and you come to suck my blood, yeah, you're a goner, something like that. But, listen, let live. That's the way I feel about things. I mean, maybe people feel differently, but when you come and invade my home space, I got no choice. I gotta take things into my own hands. I gotta protect my home space. So this rat was not satisfied with whatever was outside, and he was coming in and eating everything. Like if I, had bananas hanging up, and in the garbage, he was jumping in that, and all, like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning stuff where you're dead asleep, but you hear something rattling around, you get up and zip, he's gone. And so every morning, he was chewing through the screen doors, the screen windows, and the screen doors. And so here's a picture you can see. You can see a hole there, and I've patched it up, and that's in the back, and this is the front. Oh, no, that's the back as well from the other side. You can see I've had to patch them up with I use like a hot glue gun, because they've been chewing through the screen, coming in, get what they want, and then head back out. And so I can't, I'm like George Costanza's father. Like, I can't tolerate an infestation. So, the 2 weeks ago, 6 days in a row, this rat, I would patch it, and he would chew right through the same spot, come in and try to find whatever he wanted and bug out. So see here, like I put like in the corner here, he was going right in that corner where you can kind of see that little outline if I have a patch, and then so I put a piece of this corrugated plastic roofing across the front to make it hard for him to gnaw through there or to get at the screen, and that did help, but he was already a goner by then, I think. So, at any rate, so you can see that. You see the patch a little bit clearer there, and you can see that from the outside how how to put that piece of corrugated plastic up. So, basically, let me get rid of that. So, I don't want to poison them, and I try like live traps. I won't use sticky traps. I just won't. I feel like that's too inhumane. I try to find snap traps. I couldn't find them. I have live traps. They're too slick for live traps. I caught 2 in live traps before, and they were more like juvenile. They were just kind of dumb. Didn't know what they were doing. And so finally I got poisoned, and I was setting it out, in the spots where he was chewing through. And man, he was eating the poison and coming back. He probably ate the poison for a week, as well as whatever else I put, like a little teaser in there, like some bird food or whatever that he was trying to eat outside. And finally, like, my wife is a bloodhound, because we've had this before where we poisoned them and then they died in the ceiling somewhere, and you could smell it, And then my wife came in the other day, and she just pointed. She's like, and she said, right there, she's like, right there, this is a dead rat somewhere. I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, definitely when the wind's blowing a certain way. So I was looking and searching and looking, and finally found them. And so, like I said, I'm not happy, but I had to get rid of them. So I'll show hold on a sec. I'll show show that. I don't know if this will come through because I think I've got this set up like a video. If this comes through, it'll be a miracle. All right. Before I start that, let's go to the chat again. Hey, man, what the heck? Donate. Hey, Roy, you better calm down, man. Forget it. Right. Well, the stories are the stories. You like them. And, man, I've got some doozies coming. So, but this one, the rat story is pretty good. And this one goes even deeper. So hang on to your hat. Really do appreciate that, Roy. Thank you very much. I'm going to check the chats real quick to see if anyone else. Yeah. Poison all day in the city. Yeah. Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Yeah, veteran iron and wood. When are you going to do some fishing? Yeah, you know what, man? I love fishing, man. I got out of it for so long, and one of these days I'll get back into it. You know, I saw a show. I saw an actual TV show like on Discovery Channel or whatever, and there was a dude in Taiwan in this town. He's trying to catch a snakehead, kind of a fish like that's pretty vicious, and it can like jump on land a little bit or whatever. And he was actually in this crazy river right over here. Because some local told him, yeah, there's not just these little crayfish that people are fishing for. There's also snakeheads in there, which I believe. But, he had to go farther afield to catch one, though. But, yeah. Anyway, I'll get fishing one of these days. All right, so, basically, I'm sniffing and sniffing. I know he's up somewhere. I can't find him in the ceiling, that dead rat. So then I found him. And he was, here he is. Here. Do you see that? You see this coming across this video? So he was hiding underneath. He was underneath the roof line. I'm going to check the chat to make sure you guys are seeing this. All right. Maybe it's sketchy. Maybe it's coming across okay. I don't know. Yeah, so you see there? He's right there. See him? Hiding underneath there. There he is, the rat. So he was pretty big. And he was thinking like, man, he was really smelling. I mean, he was pretty far away, and so he probably was dead for a few days. And so, had to get rid of him. And so, pulled him out, rolled him around a bit. He was stiff as a board. And I feel, like I said, I'm gonna stop this again. I feel sorry. I don't want to whack him. I don't want to kill him, but I got no choice. I mean, they're just trying to scratch out a living, just like all of us. So, and if he would have stayed outside, I wouldn't bother with him. I wouldn't. I would say fine, whatever. But you got to watch out because in the past it was one, and then it was two, and then it was a family, and they were like family feuding in the ceiling like at night. It was crazy. So yeah, so I disposed of him, and that's about that. So he's a pretty big one, but I've seen one bigger than that. So that's my rat story right there. Right. Yeah, and people say, well, why don't you get a cat? Well, I don't know. The cat's probably be afraid of these rats, to be honest. And speaking of rats, then too, like my dad always, who's in New York, he's like, after the pandemic, he was telling me like rats are forming gangs. I'm like, what? Like, what is this West Side Story of rats? Like, I don't know. He's telling me a lot of crazy things. So, I don't, I just let everything go one ear and I'm yelling with him. But it's probably true. He was saying that rats were becoming more like they were forming groups and fighting other rats because when the restaurants closed down, all their food sources went south. So they didn't have their normal dumpster bins behind restaurants and like that. So they were coming out into the open more, being more aggressive and forming groups that could fight other rats for territory or for food, whatever food's out there. So yeah, what are you gonna say? I grew up on Staten Island and there were rats always running around. So what can you say? So, and then this will bring me to the another final rat story is, and this happened about a year ago, is so I was fighting the same situation, rat breaking in constantly. And this one was real aggressive, like he didn't care. Like if I went to the kitchen, turn on the light, and then he would scatter. As soon as I turned it off, he was trying to come back in. It was actually it was 5. It was 2 and then 3 babies I found later. But so anyway, I try to set out the live trap, nothing at all. So then I go out there one day, banging around, trying to get in because I had just put stuff in front of the screen, like to block them off just temporarily. He was like really aggressive. I know now because they had babies, so they were trying to get their food or whatever would be in that garbage, banana peels, whatever. And so I was just insane though because I was like, God, I can't sleep at night. It was pitch black. I go out and I can see on the awning he's standing right on the top there, and I had a stick, I had a long stick. My wife peeks her head out, and I'm like, he's right there. She's like, where? Like, he's right above us, right here. And so I poked the top of the awning, the bottom of the awning, and he jumped. He jumped right into the bush that is in the planter right at the edge of the wall. And remember, I'm on the 5th floor. And so then and then he went, as soon as he went in there, I reared back and I swung a home run hit, man. I couldn't see if I hit him or not. I closed my eyes when I swung. And I felt something, man, he went flying. I I must have knocked him unconscious. He went right out and over and bang, hit the ground, and simultaneously a car flattened him into a pancake. And I felt horrible. Like, I felt like, oh, man. But, I mean, he died quickly. You know, he died a quick death. And so, but, you know, like I said, it was just my matter of territory at that time. You know, you got to protect yourself and your territory. If I was to allow them to keep coming, well, it would be big trouble. Well, not long after, the other one finally ate the poison, and then about a few days, and that one died, so that was maybe the mate of that rat. And then about 2 days later, I saw 3 babies that wandered out, like on the balcony in my blacksmithing area, like little ones, and they were dead. Maybe they drank poisoned milk from their mom. I don't know. I felt sorry. Like I said, I just don't want to hurt anything. And I've actually freed rats from traps before. I'll be honest. I'm not even joking. I was in the night market here, and I was waiting for my wife to buy some stuff, and then I looked down. I'm like, oh, there's a rat caught in one of those live rat traps, and so what the people do is they'll just get a 5-gallon bucket of water and drown them, and I feel like, that's cruel, man. You know, that's why I think like a snack trap, or if you shot them, if you're able to shoot a gun or something like that, is more humane. And so I figured, man, he's going to be drowned. I swear to you, I'm not lying. The rat's looking right at me, staring at me, and I'm kind of like off to the side where there's not many people, and I'm like, man. And he was almost like telling me, like, can you free me? And I was like, man, I didn't know how those traps worked at that time. And so I figured it out and opened that trap, and he walked out. He didn't even run. He walked out, he turned right to me, and then he just like moseyed away. So I freed one. I saved one. He was probably the one that came to get me over here. You know, so what can you do? So anyway, anybody else? Any got any questions? Anything? Yeah, I gotta see my book here. What else I want to talk about? Coming up on close to an hour, so it's been pretty good. I'm really happy that this worked. I don't know why the heck there were 2 live streams at one time. It has to be how I was going in and setting up. I think when I hit start streaming on the software, and then I also hit go live on YouTube, I didn't have to do that on both places, I guess. I don't know. I'll investigate that further. So, all right, let's see. Anybody else have a question? Yeah, rats will eat through practically anything, right? Well, my rat was airborne, right? Yeah. I mean, what can you say? There's just not much you can do. You know, when it comes to the rats, when it comes to your home territory, you got to protect it. You know, if something comes in, like my sister-in-law's had like snakes. She's out in the country a bit, and man, you got to be careful because there's poisonous snakes. And so if you're on the first floor now, that's especially dangerous. You know, so anyway, we got to live with our problems, I suppose. All right, I'm going to look and see if I've got anything else I want to say before I close this off. But I really want to say thank you to everyone who's come back. And I really also want to say thanks to everyone who's donated. And I'll go through that again and give you another shout-out in an upcoming video. And let's see. Yeah, another thing is what I wanted to say, and this might work out good for me as well, is what I want to do is I have said this before, I'm trying to set it up where I can live stream while I'm working on a project, and so I have to use my phone for that. My camera, a camera, but for me it would be my phone, and I think that'll work. It should work, depending on the connection. But I won't be able to interact too much then, because obviously I'm working. I'm alone, so I can't. It's hard for me to see what's going on in the chat or people ask questions. So another option that I have when I was looking into what YouTube is up to lately is something called premieres, and so what I can do is I can make a video, like an instructional one or something that I want to show, and then I can premiere that. And if I set a premiere date, then it can have a chat where I can also then be on the chat and answer questions as we're looking at stuff. And I could probably explain stuff as that video goes, live. So, so that's another option to explore. Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? Anyone else have any questions concerning me, my personal life, or blacksmithing questions? If you have it, please ask. We're up to an hour now, and I'll probably go another 5 minutes here or so, depending on questions. Let's see what else I got here coming up. Yeah, another thing too is when I do beyond live streaming, where I'm showing myself working on a project, or to do premieres where I'm working on a project, is also I'd like to I'll show you stuff that I've made in the past, like hardware and stuff that was on like in previous homes. And also, I'll probably do like a whole thing where I do a collage of different tongs and stuff like that. I don't know if you can see the picture here is the Z tong, which I still have yet to list on my website. You know, the picture, that the tong that's above me here. And I don't know if you can see, I've got a Band-Aid on my head here that I banged my head. And, you know, being bald stinks, you know, like your head gets destroyed by stuff. You know, so, yeah, anyway, yeah, you can probably see that. Yeah, so I'll show a collage of different tongs over the years, progressions, different styles of, you know, tongs that serve the same purpose, stuff like that. So, and I can answer a lot of questions that people might have regarding tongs. All right, and let's see. Yeah, well, I guess that's going to do it for now, folks. Anybody else want anything, say anything, want to ask anything? Hurry up, move back to the stage. Yeah, my friend, yeah, Jeff, I mean, like I said, my current plan is if there's nothing comes up, whatever, and, you know, to go back in the spring, and I'm going to work on my property there some, and, you know, depending on what the situation is at that time, it might be a very extended stay. So I might be, you know, live streaming from the States. Not might be, I will be, or I'll be working from there at least. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, what the heck? Hey, man, you better stop donating, Roy, because I'm going to have to return all this. How about if I give you the same amount in New Taiwan dollars, which is only a 30th of what you're kidding? Yeah, well, listen, man, I really appreciate it. You're going all out here. You don't have to. You really don't have to. Yeah, Roy is too generous. Too generous. So, and yeah, another thing, for upcoming live stream as well, just non-blacksmithing related is the creek story, the creek/pipe story. Another thing is when I graduated from college, not college, when I first graduated high school, and then where I worked, and the craziness that I saw, like in the job that I had, the first job I ever had, and the thing that, and it forced me to go to college, seeing reality, like in Brooklyn, New York. I got tons of stories I can tell, tons of stuff. Another thing is a job, maybe the first job I had when I went back to the States after getting married was actually in a very fancy hotel in Manhattan. So I can tell a lot of stories about that, people I met, people I saw. So, yeah, I got a lot of interesting things to say. So I probably better shut my trap and save them for upcoming live streams. So, yeah, I'm going to end this now. So I want to thank everyone. Roy, thanks very much for donating multiple times, and to the others who donated. Like I said, I'll catch up with you guys. I'll give you guys extra shout-outs in an upcoming video. Yeah, and that's basically that. And so I do apologize for the starting and stopping to anyone who was, you know, anticipating watching and they just saw fuzziness and they saw 2 live streams at once and all that nonsense. So I'll try my best. It's about time for a new computer, so that will probably help me as well. So yeah, that's it. I'll talk to you guys next time. Really appreciate you coming around. Stay strong, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.